Hello everyone, I am Kithusshand Raveendran. Welcome for my final year research project presentation, the PharmaMap-LLM. It involves fine-tuning large language models for drug-drug interaction, the DDI analysis. So the agenda is going to be introduction, the project demonstration, followed by the testing and evaluation result. So the introduction. So the problem statement is when we see there's a major need for medical researchers to make more manual efforts to predict the DDI interaction, and also the patient and the doctor's wise, the drug-drug interaction can cause serious health issues such as treatment failures and hospitalization when the patient takes the multiple medications. So this research will be mainly focusing on the medical researchers side, where they will be doing thousands of DDI interaction analysis when it comes to their research or the drug invention and everything. So, and especially more than 90% of theoretical DDI interactions fails in lab trials. So there's a huge need of manual efforts to predict, like there are millions of drugs and millions of DDI combinations there in the world, and they had to go through this manually and uh, predict them. Still they lose 90% of the uh, theoretically predicted ones fails in the lab trials. So there's a huge problem that needs to be solved, and there are existing systems that detect the interaction, but often they are based on fixed rules or outdated databases. There is a growing need for a smarter and more scalable system that can be understood the biomedical text and reason through the drug relationship and work efficiently. So the research aim is going to be we will be designing and developing a smart and memory efficient system that can accurately detect drug-drug interactions. So when we say memory efficient, we'll be using the QLoRA with PEFT. The QLoRA in the sense quantized low rank adaptation while fine tuning, and PEFT means the parameter efficient fine tuning, where we'll be freezing the model parameters and only training a certain amount of parameters that will be enabling us to train with low resources. And the system used fine-tuned large language model to understand the biomedical language and identify the interaction between these two drugs. When there are drug A and drug B given, it will be predicting the outcome of the interaction. So this system is both powerful and lightweight, so everyone can even use in lower source because it used the quantization. And additionally, the system is designed to provide clear explanations and predictions, helping the doctors and researchers trust and understand the results better. So this is enabled through a multi-agentic architecture, which I'll be explaining later part of this presentation. And why it matters. So there's a huge question, why it matters. Let's say there is these two drugs interactions, and this is the outcome of this interaction. So there is an interaction exists, and the outcome is the result in a higher serum level. So this is derived from the drug bank data set from the official drug bank site. But when I tried this same drug using ChatGPT, it said I couldn't find any documented pharmacokinetic interaction. That means it is using the simple rule based and it could not find any interaction, but there is an interaction exist. The same happened with Gemini. But there are still some existing models which are specific for pharmacy applications such as BioBot, but that is again simple database based trained model which doesn't work well on the unseen data. So in this sense, let's see how this PharmaMap-LLM stands out. So this existing LLM struggles with medical accuracy and context. Like I said, this struggle with medical specific things in terms of accuracy and the context. And the PharmaMap-LLM use instruction tuned and memory efficient. Like I said, memory efficient in the sense we are using QLoRA to enable the training memory efficient, and even when we use the final model, we'll be using the quantization method, which will enable the users to use the model even with low resources. And the instruction tuned mean we'll be specifically making a prompt that will enable the learning way efficient. In a way, we'll be giving more instructions and guidelines for the model to learn how to predict the DDI interactions. And there'll be another reasoning ability will be added to the PharmaMap-LLM manually when I process the data set. So let me go through that and show how I have gone through that. When I said I used instruction tuning, this is how I have enabled it. So I have designed the prompt in a way it has the system prompt, that is the instructions to the system, how it should behave, and the user prompt that will be giving the drug details, and the smiles, which is a chemical representation of the drug, and the organism targeted and the genes targeted. And there will be instructions. These instructions are validated by a medical expert, Dr. S. Yathukulan, who is a lecturer in pharmacology and is a MBBS doctor. So he has validated these are the guidelines that should be given for the model to understand or learn how the DDI will happen. It will be mainly looking at the pharmacokinetic factors and pharmacodynamic interactions, and also the molecular structure using the smiles. So there will be a classification criteria, and the context considerations will be given, and finally the assistant answer will be there. So this will be supervised fine-tuning, and like I said, I have added reasoning using another RC model. So using RC's AI, I used DeepSeek model, GPT-4o's model, and RC core models with auto reasoning, and created this reasoning using AI again, feeding this data set this data set one by one, and created the reasoning. So after processing the reasoning, there will be this user prompt is as it is, and the assistant will say no interaction. Let's say here it's saying no interaction, and will be adding the thinking process afterwards. So it goes through the thinking process. So this training data set will have the reasoning process for a certain part of data. So in this case, I have added 20,000 data with the reasoning ability, and the rest go with simple prediction ability. So this 20,000 reasoning ability will enable the model to learn how to think to produce this output. So this will enable the model to learn, not memorize. There's a term that's saying some models memorize it but doesn't learn. So if the model memorizes it, it doesn't perform well in the unseen data. So to enable that, we have added this reasoning, and which will be enabling the learning. And finally, the PharmaMap-LLM stands out with multi-agent architecture support. So this multi-agent architecture support will give, let's say this fine-tuned model will be doing as a predictor agent, and another agent, there will be a validator agent. They again use the same model to validate the prediction using reasoning, and also there will be another validator agent that will be using another model, for instance GPT-4, and it will be judging the previous prediction from the predictor agent and the validator agent 1, and it will be validating as a secondary layer. And there will be another risk assessment agent, which will be again using another model, for an example Llama 3 or GPT-4 or something like that. And finally, the orchestrator agent that will be managing all these agents and getting the output reliable and correct. So in this multi-agent architecture, it is ensured that the prediction is reliable. So let's move to the project demonstration. So here, like I've shown this example from the drug bank one. So this is not the one I used for the training. So I will be using this one for prediction. For time constraint, I have already filled them. So here you can see the fine-tuned model will be the predictor, and the risk assessment agent I am using GPT 3.5 Turbo. This is configurable. And let's say for the validator agent, I am changing to OpenAI and using the GPT-4o, and orchestrator agent will be again GPT-4. We can configure this and analyze the interaction. So this will go through the predictor agent, then it will go through the validator agent. So there will be a system flow that will enable the model output is very reliable. Let's wait for the model to do the prediction, and you can see the final prediction is interaction. Like you've seen, the ChatGPT say no interaction, but our model predicted the interaction. And let's say what our predictor agent did, and it says it may increase the higher serum level, and our validator agent gave a proper reasoning validating the answer. And the risk assessment agent by GPT-4o says that risk level is moderate and given the adverse effects. And the final validator agent 2 have approved that this flow and this predicted things are correct, and it has also added the reasoning on its own. And finally, the orchestrator agent given the final decision with a confidence level of 0.8 and with the clinical recommendation. So this previous DDI samples will be available through the previous history in this site. So I have already uploaded my fine-tuned model under this Hugging Face site, Kithusshand PharmaMap-LLM. And this is the model that I have fine-tuned, and I have uploaded it for the public use. Everyone can use this. And also I have added the data set that I have arranged specifically for the fine-tuning. And you can see the test and train data sets are here, which will be having 1.1 millions of positive data, 1.1 millions of negative data. Altogether 2.2 millions of data is here in this train, and this test have only 20,000 of data. So this all available through this Hugging Face model. And let's move to the testing and evaluation. So when I say evaluation, I have used LLM as judge, which is a suitable method for this specific use case. Like I said, you can use accuracy or precision, everything, but still, since this involves with the text data output, which is not a fixed one, so there's a need for a specific evaluation method that should be adapted for this LLM evaluation. For this, I used LLM as judge, and the judge will be GPT-4o. So here I will be, I have predicted specific data using the fine-tuned model. Let's say my fine-tuned model predicted this output, and the ground truth, the actual data, so the actual response should be this one, and this will be generated by while predicting. So likewise, I have created 2000s of data, test data, and predicted to again and again, and created this JSON file for the predicted outputs. And after predicting, I used the LLM as judge. In this case, I used ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to give a valid score, if it's valid or not, which is a Boolean value. If this is correct, it's going to be true. If this is not correct, it's going to be false. And the score, which will be given if the value is true or false. And if it's like more than 80% or something, it will be given as true. So the score should be very confident enough to get that. So there will be two things that we'll be using for evaluation. So let's come back to this evaluation. So like I said, I have used 2000s of data, and the valid response was 1846 out of this, which will be a 92.3% accuracy, and the average quality score is 92.1. And when I did benchmarking, so I did the specific scripts. So like I said, I predicted using the GPT-4 like that same again, and used it used in the same JSON, and again used the PharmaMap-LLM, then the Llama 3 model by Meta, and the JSL MetLlama, which is my base model that I used for training. So this JSL MetLlama is also medical specific fine-tuned model by John Snow Labs. And I took this model and fine-tuned it, since this is already having some medical information, and fine-tuning this for specifically for DDI would help. So I have predicted using these three, and I did the benchmarking again using the LLM, using the ground truth and the same sample prediction, and by giving the score. So at the end of the evaluation, I got my model outperformed even GPT-4 or the latest model, which had 91% accuracy, and my model had 92.3% accuracy. And the Llama 3 model got 72%, and the JSL MetLlama got 78% accuracy, which is not bad. But still, when we have a look at the unseen data, the PharmaMap-LLM produced better and reliable prediction when it comes to the unseen data. So this ensured that the model is learned well, and even our multi-agentic architecture gave even stronger for this model. So as a conclusion, this project successfully combined the advanced AI techniques and domain-specific data to build the PharmaMap-LLM, which is a memory-efficient and instruction-tuned system for DDI detection. And through the QLoRA-fine-tuning, the biomedical data set like DDI extraction from the drug bank, the model achieved the accuracy of 91% in average, and showing the strong alignment with the prompt-based reasoning. Unlike the general models like GPT or Gemini, our LLM provides both accurate prediction and clinical reasoning. This work not only improved my skill with LLM training and evaluation, but also it demonstrated how domain-adapted AI can address real-world healthcare efficiently. Not only healthcare, but also in multiple domains. And that's all. Thank you for listening.